I can't believe you're asking us for money. My sister Amanda's laugh echoed through my hospital room, sharp and cruel. We have our own expenses, living costs are rising, and the kids need new iPads. She stood there in her designer outfit, perfectly manicured nails gripping her latest iPhone, while I laid in my hospital bed after emergency surgery. Amanda, I let you live in my house rent-free for 5 years, I said quietly, still weak from the procedure. I just need help with these medical bills. I'm not asking for much. Oh, here we go again with the house thing. She rolled her eyes. You're always throwing that in our faces. Besides, we've been maintaining it. That's worth something. This is your problem, Sarah. Deal with it. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and at 42, I was learning the hard way that family loyalty only goes one direction. 5 years ago, when Amanda, her husband Mike, and their 3 kids needed a place to stay after Mike's business venture failed, I opened my home to them. It was a beautiful 4-bedroom house I'd bought through years of careful saving and hard work as an architectural engineer. Just for a few months until we get back on our feet, they'd said. Those few months turned into years. Now, as I lay in the hospital after an emergency gallbladder surgery that had revealed more complicated issues, I was facing mounting medical bills. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent years helping others, only to find myself alone when I needed support. The kids need new iPads? I repeated, disbelief coloring my voice. Amanda, I'm talking about medical bills. I could lose everything. Don't be so dramatic, she said, waving her hand dismissively. You've always been the responsible one. You'll figure it out. Besides, Mike's starting a new business venture. We need all our resources for that. I closed my eyes, remembering all the business ventures Mike had started over the years. Each one grander than the last, each one failing spectacularly, and each one somehow becoming everyone else's responsibility to fund. You should have had better insurance, Amanda continued, checking her reflection in her phone's camera. Anyway, I need to go. The interior decorator is coming to look at the house. We're thinking of remodeling the kitchen. My eyes snapped open. You're what? Oh, nothing major, she said airily. Just updating a few things. That kitchen is so outdated. The decorator says it's affecting our social media aesthetic. I struggled to sit up, ignoring the pain in my abdomen. Amanda, you can't remodel my house without my permission. You're not even paying rent. She gave me a strange look, a small smile playing at her lips. About that, we should talk when you're feeling better. Rest up, sis. With that, she sashayed out of the room, leaving behind the cloying scent of her expensive perfume, and a growing sense of dread in my stomach. That evening, my best friend Lisa came to visit, bringing actual homemade soup instead of empty promises. When I told her about Amanda's visit and the remodeling plans, her face darkened. Sarah, something's not right, she said, putting down her purse and pulling out her laptop. Have you checked your property records recently? I frowned. No, why would I? I've owned that house for 10 years. Lisa's fingers flew over the keyboard. As a real estate attorney, she had access to property databases that normal people didn't. The crease between her eyebrows deepened as she scrolled through something on her screen. Sarah, she said slowly, when was the last time you actually looked at your house documents? They're in my home office, in the filing cabinet. I trailed off as realization hit me. The home office that had become Amanda's eldest daughter's bedroom. The filing cabinet I hadn't been able to access for months because the kids needed the space for their school projects. Lisa turned her laptop around, showing me a document that made my blood run cold. There was my house. But the ownership details had changed. 3 months ago, while I was dealing with the first signs of my medical issues, a transfer of property had been filed. This can't be legal, I whispered, staring at the document. I never signed anything. Are you sure? Lisa asked gently. No papers when you were in pain, distracted, or rushing to get to doctor's appointments. My mind raced back through the past few months. Amanda had been extraordinarily helpful during my early health scares, offering to handle paperwork, bringing documents for me to sign while I was distracted with pain or medication. She wouldn't. But even as I said it, I knew she would. Amanda had always been talented at getting what she wanted, and I'd always been talented at making excuses for her. Lisa pulled out her phone. I'm calling Marcus at the fraud department. Something's definitely not right here. She paused, looking at me seriously. But Sarah, we need to be smart about this. If what I suspect is true, we need to gather evidence before confronting them. I nodded, feeling oddly calm despite the situation. Perhaps it was the medication, or perhaps it was the strange sense of clarity that comes when you finally see through years of manipulation. "Tell me what to do," I said. Over the next few days, while I recovered in the hospital, Lisa and Marcus built a case. They discovered a pattern of suspicious documents, all filed during my worst health episodes. Amanda had apparently been planning this for months, maybe even years. The signatures on these documents, Marcus said during one of his visits, they're close to yours. But there are inconsistencies. And the notary stamp. It's from a notary whose license was revoked 6 months ago. They got sloppy, probably didn't think you'd ever check. I thought about Amanda's strange smile when I'd mentioned remodeling, her casual dismissal of my concerns. She thought she'd won, that I was too weak, too trusting, or too nice to fight back. "What's our next step?" I asked. Lisa leaned forward, her expression determined. "We document everything. Every unauthorized change, every suspicious signature, every conversation. Then, when you're stronger, we strike." "And in the meantime?" I glanced at the hospital bills piling up on my bedside table. "In the meantime," Lisa smiled, "we let them think they've won. Sometimes the best revenge is letting people underestimate you." I was discharged a week later, having arranged a payment plan with the hospital. Amanda didn't offer to pick me up. She was too busy with the decorator. Lisa drove me home, and what I saw made my heart stop. My beautiful craftsman-style house, the one I'd spent years restoring, was in chaos. Construction materials littered the front yard, and through the windows, I could see workers tearing out the vintage kitchen cabinets I lovingly refinished myself. Amanda stood in the driveway, directing workers with the authority of someone who owned the place, which, according to the fraudulent documents, she did. "Oh, you're back," she said brightly when she saw me. "Perfect timing. We're doing a complete renovation. The social media potential is amazing. My followers are going to love the transformation." I leaned heavily on Lisa's arm, partly from weakness and partly to stop myself from screaming. "Amanda, this is my house. You can't just—" Actually, she cut me off, her bright smile turning sharp. "It's our house now. Don't you remember signing it over? A gift to help us get back on our feet after everything you've done for us." "Really, Sarah, the medication must be affecting your memory." Mike appeared in the doorway, looking uncomfortable but staying silent. He'd always been like that, letting Amanda take the lead while he played the helpless bystander. "And since it's our house now," Amanda continued, "we think it's best if you find somewhere else to stay while you recover. All this construction noise won't be good for your health. Maybe Lisa can put you up for a while." I felt Lisa stiffen beside me, but I squeezed her arm gently. "Not yet." "Of course," I said softly. "You're right. The noise wouldn't be good for my recovery. I'll just get some things from my bedroom." "Oh, we've moved your stuff to the garage," Amanda said dismissively, "to protect it from the construction dust. We can have one of the workers bring out whatever you need." I nodded, still playing weak and compliant. "That's thoughtful of you. Just some clothes and my medications for now. I'll figure out the rest later." As we waited for the worker to bring my belongings, I watched Amanda direct more changes to my home, each casual order feeling like a personal attack. The worker returned with 2 hastily packed boxes and my medication bag. "Don't worry about the rest," Amanda said, already turning back to the decorator who had arrived with fabric samples. "We'll take good care of everything." Lisa helped me back to her car, and as we drove away, I finally let the tears fall, not from sadness or defeat, but from pure, cleansing anger. "They really think they've won," I whispered. Lisa glanced at me, a slow smile spreading across her face. "But they don't know about Marcus's investigation, or the documented fraud, or the fact that I've already filed emergency injunction papers." I wiped my eyes, sitting up straighter. "Or about the hidden cameras I installed in my home office 3 months ago, right after I first got sick and started noticing things going missing." Lisa's smile turned into a grin. "You never told me about those." "I didn't tell anyone," I said, thinking about the tiny cameras I'd installed after years of misplaced documents and mysterious changes to my paperwork. I thought I was being paranoid. Turns out, I wasn't paranoid enough. "No," Lisa agreed, "but you were smart enough to protect yourself, even if you didn't know exactly what you were protecting yourself from." As we drove to Lisa's house, I thought about Amanda's smug smile, her casual cruelty, Her absolute certainty that I would just roll over and accept her betrayal like I had so many times before. "How long until we can move?" I asked. Lisa checked her rearview mirror, her expression turning serious. "Marcus is expediting everything. With the evidence we have, the fraudulent signatures, the revoked notary, the hidden camera footage, we could have them out within weeks. But I think we should wait just a little longer. Let them sink more money into those renovations. Document every change they make without the legal owner's permission. The more evidence we have, the stronger our case." I nodded, thinking about all the times I'd let things slide for the sake of family peace. Not this time. This time I would wait, watch, and when the moment was right, I would take back everything they tried to steal. "They think I'm weak," I said, staring out the window at the passing houses. "They think that because I've always been the nice one, the understanding one, that I'll just accept this too." Lisa pulled into her driveway and turned off the engine. "Well, then they clearly don't know the real you. The you that put yourself through engineering school, restored that house from a wreck to a showcase, and built a career while they were playing house with your property." She was right. Somewhere along the way, I'd let Amanda's version of me, the pushover, the soft touch, the eternal doormat, become the truth. But not anymore. "Get some rest," Lisa said as she helped me inside. "You'll need your strength for what's coming." I settled into Lisa's guest room, surrounded by the few possessions I'd managed to take from my own home. On the bedside table, my phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. "The decorator says we should think about converting your old bedroom into a home gym. The kids need a place to stay active during winter. Hope you're recovering well." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into the hidden camera feed. There was Amanda, walking through my house with the decorator, pointing out all the changes she wanted to make, each suggestion more expensive than the last. The cameras caught every word, every plan, every casual dismissal of my existence. "We'll need all new appliances," she was saying, "and maybe we can knock out this wall to create an open concept space." The old owner, she actually rolled her eyes when referring to me, had such dated ideas about home design. I closed the laptop, a strange sense of calm settling over me. They thought they had won, thought their fraud and manipulation had given them everything they wanted. They had no idea what was coming. "Rest up, sis," Amanda had said in the hospital, so sure of her victory. I lay back on Lisa's guest bed, closed my eyes, and smiled. Oh, I would rest. I would recover. And then I would show them exactly what happens when you push the nice one too far. 2 weeks passed, and from my temporary sanctuary at Lisa's house, I watched through the hidden cameras as Amanda and Mike poured money into my home. Each day brought new deliveries, high-end appliances, custom cabinets, designer furniture, all funded by the home equity loan they had somehow managed to take out using the fraudulent property transfer. They've spent over $150,000 on renovations already, Marcus said during our latest meeting, shaking his head as he reviewed the financial documents. The loan paperwork is sloppy. They were clearly rushing to get everything done before he caught on. Lisa spread more papers across her dining room table, which had become our unofficial command center. "The contractor they hired isn't properly licensed for structural work," she added, "and they never pulled the required permits for the wall they knocked down." I sipped my coffee, feeling stronger each day. "How much more evidence do we need?" "We have enough," Marcus replied. "The fraudulent signatures, the revoked notary, the hidden camera footage of them discussing how they tricked you during your illness. We could move now." "But?" I prompted, hearing a hesitation in his voice. "But if we wait just a little longer, let them finish these illegal renovations," Lisa smiled. "Well, then they'll be on the hook for a lot more than just fraud." I nodded, understanding the strategy. Every dollar they spent, every unauthorized change they made, was another nail in their legal coffin. My phone buzzed. Another text from Amanda. "The new kitchen is amazing. My followers are loving the renovation updates. Too bad you're missing it. When are you coming to get the rest of your stuff from the garage? We need the space for the kids' new gaming setup." I showed the text to Lisa and Marcus. "They're planning to throw out my things, aren't they?" Lisa's expression hardened. "Not if I can help it. I'll send my brother with a truck tomorrow. He can pretend to be a junk removal service. They'll never know he's actually taking your belongings to a secure storage unit." That evening, I reviewed more footage from the hidden cameras. Amanda was hosting some kind of social media live stream, giving her followers a tour of her renovated kitchen. This space was so dated before, she was saying, gesturing at my lovingly restored vintage cabinets piled in the driveway. The previous owner had no vision, no style. But look at it now. The comments rolled in, praising her design choices, congratulating her on her new home. If only they knew the truth. Mike appeared in the frame, looking uncomfortable as usual. Maybe you shouldn't post so much about the renovations, he muttered. What if your sister sees? Amanda laughed, that same cruel laugh I'd heard in the hospital. Please, she's probably still crying in Lisa's guest room. Besides, it's done. The house is ours now. She can't prove anything. I closed the laptop, a familiar calm settling over me. They thought they were untouchable, that their fraud was perfect, that I would never fight back. The next morning, Lisa's brother Tom arrived with his truck, posing as a junk removal service. Through the cameras, I watched Amanda wave him toward the garage. Take whatever you want, she said dismissively. It's all just old junk anyway. But it wasn't junk. It was my life. Photo albums, family heirlooms, the antique desk my grandfather had left me. Tom carefully loaded everything, treating each item with a respect that brought tears to my eyes. Your things are safe, he texted me later. We got everything out before they could damage it. You wouldn't believe the things your sister was saying, though. I would believe it. I'd spent years believing Amanda's casual cruelty was just her way. That family meant accepting the unacceptable. The contractors say they'll be done with the major renovations by next week, Lisa reported that evening. They're planning some kind of huge reveal party. Amanda's invited all her social media followers. I scrolled through my sister's social media posts, each one more audacious than the last. She was building her brand as a home renovation influencer, using my stolen property as her launching pad. Let them have their party, I said quietly. Let them think they've won completely. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You sure? We could move before then, shut this whole thing down. I shook my head. I want them to reach the height of their celebration before they fall. I want all their followers to see what happens when you build your success on fraud and betrayal. Lisa grinned. You know, for someone they think is weak, you've got a surprisingly strategic mind. I'm an engineer, I reminded her. I understand structural integrity, and their house of cards is about to collapse. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Amanda's words in the hospital. You're always throwing that in our faces. As if my generosity was a burden to her, as if letting them live rent-free in my home had somehow wronged her. I thought about Mike's discomfort, his silent complicity in his wife's schemes. He wasn't innocent. His signature was on the fraudulent documents too, but he was weak in a different way than they thought I was. My phone lit up with another text from Amanda. The party is next Saturday. You should come see what we've done with the place. Though you might not recognize it, we finally brought it into this century. I showed the text to Lisa the next morning. Well, she asked, do you want to go to their party? I smiled, feeling the last pieces of our plan falling into place. Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world. The next few days passed in a blur of legal preparations. Marcus gathered the final pieces of evidence, including proof that Amanda and Mike had taken out multiple loans against my property. Lisa prepared the court documents, ready to file the moment we made our move. Through it all, I watched through the cameras as my sister prepared for her big moment. She hired caterers, decorators, even a professional photographer to document her triumph. This is going to launch my influencer career, she told Mike as they stood in what used to be my kitchen. Finally, all those years of living in Sarah's shadow will be worth it. Mike shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should have just asked her to sell us the house legally. Amanda's laugh was sharp. Please, she never would have sold. She loved lording it over us that we needed her help. Well, look who needs help now. I closed the laptop, her words echoing in my head. All those years of living in my shadow. I had never tried to overshadow her. I had only ever tried to help. You ready for tomorrow? Lisa asked, bringing me a cup of tea. I nodded, thinking about Amanda's party, about all her followers who would be there to witness her moment of glory. You know, I said, for years I thought being kind meant being weak. I thought family meant sacrificing everything for people who would sacrifice nothing for you. Lisa sat down beside me. And now? Now I know that real strength isn't about being cruel or selfish. It's about standing up for yourself, even against people who should have stood up for you. Tomorrow would be Amanda's big day. She thought it would launch her new life as a social media star. She had no idea it would actually be the day her house of cards came tumbling down. The day of Amanda's party arrived, sunny and bright. Through the hidden cameras, I watched her direct caterers and decorators preening for her social media followers as they arrived in groups. "Welcome to our completely renovated dream home," she announced to her live stream. "This transformation has been absolutely incredible, from dated disaster to modern masterpiece." Beside me, in Lisa's car parked down the street, Marcus checked his watch. "The police and sheriff's deputies are in position. Just say when." I watched more guests arrive, many of them local social media influencers Amanda had invited to boost her exposure. They wandered through my home, admiring the unauthorized renovations and taking selfies in front of my destroyed kitchen. "Look at all these people," Lisa murmured. "They have no idea they're documenting fraud in real time." I nodded, watching Amanda bask in her moment of glory. She was giving a speech now, standing in my former living room with a champagne glass in hand. "When we first moved in with my sister, this place was so outdated. But sometimes life gives you unexpected opportunities. Now look at it, a true influencer's paradise." That was our cue. I pulled out my phone and texted Marcus, "Now." Within minutes, police cars and sheriff's vehicles converged on the property. Through the cameras, I watched confusion spread across the crowd as uniformed officers entered through both the front and back doors. "Amanda Mitchell." The lead detective's voice cut through the party chatter. "We have a warrant regarding fraudulent property transfer and unauthorized equity loans." The champagne glass slipped from Amanda's hand, shattering on the new hardwood floors she had installed without permits. "This is ridiculous. This is our house. We have papers." "Fraudulent papers," Marcus said, striding in with a thick folder, with forged signatures and an invalid notary stamp. I chose that moment to walk in, Lisa beside me. The crowd of influencers, phones still recording, turned to stare. "Hello, sis," I said calmly. "Nice party." "Sarah?" Amanda's face contorted. "What are you doing? You can't." "Actually, I can. This is my house. Always has been. And I have proof of every fraudulent document you filed, every loan you took out in my name, and every illegal renovation you made." Mike, pale and shaking, stepped forward. "We can explain." "The cameras already caught your explanations," I cut him off. "Every conversation about forging my signature, about taking advantage of my illness, about stealing my property, it's all documented." Amanda's carefully curated world crumbled before my eyes. Her social media followers were still recording, capturing every moment of her downfall. "You're arresting them?" one influencer asked, phone held high. "Property fraud is a serious crime," Marcus explained, loud enough for all the recording phones to capture, "especially when combined with forgery, unauthorized loans, and construction without permits." I watched as the police led Amanda and Mike away, their perfect social media moment transforming into something very different from what they had planned. "Wait," Amanda called out. "Our things are renovations." "You mean my things," I corrected her. "In my house, which you illegally tried to steal." As the police cars pulled away, the party guests quickly dispersed, their phones undoubtedly uploading the dramatic scene to every social media platform available. Lisa squeezed my arm. "You okay?" I looked around at my house, at the chaos of Amanda's interrupted party, at the evidence of everything they had tried to take from me. "You know what? I really am." For the first time in months, standing in my own home, I felt truly free. Amanda's facade had finally cracked, exposing the truth I had always known but had been too nice to acknowledge. Sometimes being strong means standing up to the people who never thought you would. 6 months later, I stood in my newly restored kitchen, running my hand over the vintage cabinets I had managed to salvage and refinish. After Amanda and Mike's arrest, the court ordered them to repay every penny they had spent on unauthorized renovations, plus damages. The money helped me restore my home to its original charm, this time exactly as I wanted it. Amanda and Mike took a plea deal to avoid longer sentences. They moved across the country after their social media fame turned to infamy. Last I heard, Amanda was working a regular job, her influencer dreams shattered by her own actions. The most surprising change came from their kids. My nieces and nephews reached out independently, apologizing for their parents' behavior. The oldest, now in college, visits sometimes. She says she's learning from my example about building success honestly. The house looks amazing, Lisa said, joining me for our weekly coffee morning. Even better than before, I smiled, pouring her a cup from my restored vintage coffee set, one of the items her brother had rescued from the garage. It feels more like home now, maybe because I finally learned to stand up for it. Marcus stopped by later with good news. The last of the fraudulent loans has been cleared from your record. Your credit score is actually higher than before all this happened. Thank you, I said. Both of you. I couldn't have done this without your help. Are you kidding? Lisa laughed. You had the foresight to install cameras, keep records, and stay calm when most people would have lost it. You did the hard part. Looking around my restored home, I felt at peace. The medical bills that had started all of this were long paid off, partly through the compensation from the fraud case. My health had improved, and so had my understanding of what family really means. Real family, I learned, isn't about blood ties or obligations. It's about the people who stand by you, who help you fight for what's right, who celebrate your strength instead of trying to break it. You know what? I said, raising my coffee cup. Here's to happy endings, not because everything is perfect, but because we're stronger for having fought for them. Lisa and Marcus raised their cups too, and in that moment, surrounded by true friends in my restored home, I knew I had finally found the family I deserved. Sometimes the happiest endings come not from forgetting the past, but from learning from it, growing stronger, and building something better than before. And that, I realized, was the best revenge of all.